a presentation rather for myself. My name is Valery Colong. As a presenter mentioned, Mr. Fungo Martin. I have 15 years experience in the field of software engineering, and I guess that's what makes me qualified to give this talk, at least to young people like yourself. I did not do any formal slides, so I'm just going to rabble up some few things because Martin informed me about this talk just yesterday, but I thought, why not? Because Martin and I have had these arguments time and time over when he was being incubated at Active Spaces. So when he called me and gave me the topic for this discussion, for this keynote, I was like, yeah, so he finally got it. Yeah, so this talk is really about technology just a tool, but I think if you want to look at technology as a core of it, it's too generic. I think it was supposed to be like programming language is just a tool, because technology itself can be anything, but I think the focus on this talk will be the programming language that you just learned. And the goal here is to help you avoid become maybe React fanboys or fangirls after this cohort, right? I think that's the essential thing, so that you don't become React fanboys or fangirls after this cohort. And the whole thing is about helping you to find a balance. It's like walking on a rope, right? You have to find a balance each time you go, because you cannot just walk straight unless, of course, you are Jesus himself. But then you have to find a balance so that you don't fall off, the rope. So that's what I'm going to, hopefully this keynote is going to help you achieve. So a little bit about my own experience. When I started my entrepreneurship career far back 2006, then fast forward to 2009, I was working on AgroHub at the time, and we had to build a website for AgroHub. And at the time, I had learned Codeigniter. Who knows Codeigniter here? Only the veterans. So I was using Codeigniter at the time, and that's what I knew. Now, right? PHP. Of course, I'd also done some Java, then Visual Basic, Visual C#, but at that time I was using Codeigniter. That's the PHP framework of choice that I knew. So I was working on this website, and it was taking me almost 6 months to deliver. And I remember, coincidentally, Sebastian is here. At the time, I was at Limbe Labs working on this idea. And there was one of the co-founders of Limbe Labs at the time. Of course, Limbe Labs became Active Spaces. Bill Zimmerman. Bill saw me working on the project, and he basically came and said, Val, why are you taking so long to build this website? I'm like, no, I'm trying to work with Codeigniter to deliver it to the taste that I want, to be able to make it malleable how I want it. And he said, okay, but you could use WordPress. At the time, I was like, WordPress? No, I want something that I could really get into the code and do it myself. And I spent 6 months working on that idea. During this time, I saw Bill. Bill had built about 3-4 different websites for his different ideas and shipped them online. And I was still coding with Codeigniter because I wanted to do things from scratch. It was so embarrassing. And fast forward, as I was working within Limbe Labs, Bill finally contracted me to build a website, a platform for VC for Africa, Venture Capital for Africa, for those who know the platform. Bill contracted me to build that, to work on that website, and I was forced to learn WordPress because it was built on WordPress and BodyPress. And that's when I had to bring in my ingenuity to work on WordPress and BodyPress. And I realized WordPress was very, very malleable. It was almost as malleable as Codeigniter that I was using. And it did the work so much faster. And then I got the lesson. Unfortunately, like many of you, we're all smart and intelligent, but also very stubborn. So I was very stubborn, because if I was not, I would have picked up WordPress fast enough, and then I learned. And from WordPress, I went into Drupal, and then finally I learned Joomla. So all the 3 most popular content management systems back in the days, those are the skills that I picked up. Now, I'm sharing this story because I have walked the same path as you. And I have come to realize that when you learn a new technology, you don't have to only stick to it. In this case, we're talking about programming language to be more precise. You don't have to stick to one programming language. And in my experience, most programming languages nowadays are approaching a point of what I call singularity, in the sense that all the best practices in all these different programming languages, they are all bringing them. So if you pick Servlet, Vue.js, React, almost all the concepts are all the same. There's just little changes, and even Angular had to rewrite its entire code base to be able to meet up with these best practices. So in essence, you don't have to stick to one programming language. You have to choose the tool that works best and whatever your employer wants. My advice to you is this. After learning React, if you are the kind of person who will continue having control of their own time and what they do, I would say stick to React. Learn as much as you can. Become an expert in React. And hopefully, when you choose now to learn some new skill, you can basically port those skills that you have learned over to the new language. For someone like me, it takes me only 2 weeks at most to be able to adjust to any new programming language. I have learned so many programming languages for sure. PHP, Visual Basic, C#, Dart, Flutter, Vue.js, Quasar, you name it, Python. I've learned all these things. But I can tell you, what I'm telling you is pulled out of my experience, all these 50 years experience. No programming language is way above the other. They all each have their strengths and weaknesses. What you have to do is to master one, learn the core concepts. If it's object-oriented programming, learn object-oriented programming that you can apply it to JavaScript, you can apply it to PHP, you can apply it to Python or Java, any other language that you want to use. But once you understand inheritance, polymorphism, and all of that, you can use it in any of this programming language. You only need to just ask yourself, how do I do it in this programming language, right? Just yesterday, I was working with one of my junior colleagues in the office, and I had assigned him to work on Moodle. Moodle is a course where it's a PHP content management system for managing courses online, or rather, managing courses. So I assigned him to build a courseware platform, and he's done that quite all right. And so we're supposed to Dockerize it so that we can host it on a virtual machine. On a virtual private server. So what happened is that I realized he actually used a theme that was online and then had modified the theme. Now, I have not worked with Moodle before, but I've worked with WordPress and Drupal extensively. So what I asked him, why did you modify the theme directly? Why did you not use child theme? And I was saying that without even knowing whether Moodle offers child theme. But because I know that it is best practice and Moodle is a very mature platform, they will simply have ported the same concept from other content management system. I knew that something like that must exist. And sure enough, when I went on Google and I searched how to make a child theme for Moodle, and there it was. You get the point. So the lesson here is that once you learn one programming language like React that's really mature, you learn the best skills, the best techniques on using this framework, you can certainly apply it to other programming languages. Then you have to make your mind flexible enough to be able to learn new skills depending on what your employer wants. If Sebastian Schmidt or myself or Tabi calls you tomorrow to say, hey, let's work on something and I'm using, for instance, maybe Dart, you should be able to pick up that. You're all smart people. I know that 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, maximum 1 month, you should be able to adjust to this new programming language. So don't get stuck on one programming language thinking that, okay, maybe this is it. I'm not going to learn anything new. It is hard, but become an expert and keep your mind open so that you can pick up new skills. So to wrap up this discussion, I will just offer piece of advice for those of you who are coming into this industry new, young folks, I was at your age so many years back. I think that, one, if you have control of your time, stick to doing React and React Native. Become really, really good at it. I mean, really good at it. Don't get in the habit of just thinking that, okay, I'm comfortable with React, and then you switch on to the next thing and say, let me learn a new thing. No, that's just a distraction. Become really good at it. Then you can port over those skills to any other programming language. For instance, React, you have concept of hooks and all those things. If you go to Vue, you have composables and similar concepts. There's really nothing new. The second point is that why I'm encouraging you to stick to one programming language and become a master, at the same time you should be flexible enough so that you can learn new things. That's why I say it's like walking on a rope. You have to continuously find that balance, because you may leave school today and an employer comes up and say, hey, I see that you're a smart guy, but I want us to work with, say, Laravel. You don't have to say, no, I learned React, so I cannot do Laravel. That's wrong. Technology is just a tool. Any programming language is just a tool. So you should be able to jump to a new programming language and pick it up and study. The other thing I want to mention is that all too often when you leave school, because you have BScs, degrees in computer science or software engineering, you think that you know. And like Mr. Martin already said, those of us who are employing or recruiting young people like yourself, it's so hard to get qualified skills to work with. Some of them, when we recruit some of you, we have to spend 1 year training you to master the skills. Yes. So, and some of you come from university because you have a degree, you're like, okay, how much are we going to pay? You're like 300,000. What? You're not even able to offer anything useful to us yet. So leave school with the idea that my recommendation, this is my personal recommendation, give 5 years of your life to learning. 5. Forget about money. Learning should be what should be in your mind. 5 years. After 5 years, you can say, okay, my goal now is money making. Then you'll be right to do so. But after you've learned a lot, because at that point in time, somebody employing you is going to get what they're employing you for. So when you leave school, don't get in mind that, okay, I have to make money, I have to go and work somewhere and make money. No. Go in the mindset that you have to learn. Meet a startup or another company and say, hey, I just left school and I want to learn from you. Let me see what I can offer to your company. That's the mindset you need to have. Finally, I would also suggest that you find a mentor. You people are in a unique position and very lucky that you have folks like myself and Martin to train you and guide you and coach you. In our days, we did not have this luxury. You even have the internet here at your disposal, which is far better than what we had back in our days. We used to pay 1 hour internet for like 2,000 francs an hour. And then, I don't know if some of you even saw Yahoo. When you click on it, you have to wait 15 minutes. Then with that globe that was going round and round, 15 minutes before you can even see a page. So you are at a very unique position where you can take advantage of all of these things. But I would say that as much as you have all these opportunities, it's good to find a mentor. I wasted so much time, honestly. I wasted so much years I could have avoided if I simply found a mentor and I stalked that person and I say, hey, I just want to follow you. You get the point. It's okay to find things, discover things on your own. But at the same time, I think you can move so much faster if you find a mentor and trust that person. Today, Martin is inviting me to come and give this talk, but I remember when we were at Active Spaces, we had arguments and arguments on these things, a lot. But today he has realized it, and that's why he's calling me to come and give this talk to encourage you so that you can avoid that pitfall as well. So without further ado, I want to say thank you so much for your kind attention, and to Tech Chantier, Mr. Martin, for the wonderful work you're doing to groom these young people. We are getting old, as you can see from my gray hair, so we are gradually phasing out. So we need young people like yourselves to come up and pick up the baton and move on with tech. So we are really open. Those of us who are here, we are open to work with you guys. If you ever think you need somewhere to practice, our doors are open to offer you opportunities. Zynga Systems is able to take about 2-3 people, 3 interns. So our doors are open to help you, but then you must be willing to work. For those who know me, I have a knack for excellence. And yes, that pisses off some of my co-workers. I have a knack for excellence. If you were doing something with me, I expect it to be better, but I think that's something that's good because down the line, you see that it's beneficial to your career. So thank you so much, and you have a great day.